Lewis. I'm from Tekcapital, and it's a pleasure to be here. Just briefly, how many of you have some tie back to university technology within your businesses? Just out of curiosity. Okay, so if you, how many of you have been engaged in a tech transfer sometime? Okay, great. All right. Just briefly, before I jump into my real presentation, I'm going to be quick so that we keep the session going on time. Davos just finished, and there were some great takeaways. One of those takeaways is that the financial metrics that we've been using to evaluate the success of companies and sort of the ongoing and the prediction of how companies are going to succeed has proven insufficient. And so much of the conversation revolved around what are the future metrics that should be evaluated in order to determine the success of an organization or a country. And the conclusion rested on human capital, that the focus should be on what is the human capital, the intellectual capital, and how do we measure and forecast that. The other focus was on networks and the strength and power of networks. And we've seen sort of politically and from a business standpoint the huge impact that networks have created now that you can connect with people all over the world in sort of a seamless and very quick fashion. One of the examples that was given was this virtual choir. How many of you have seen this before? Has anyone seen this before? Okay, so this is Eric Whitaker, and what he's done is he's tapped the talents of thousands of people around the world, and he's created a choir. And apparently he's going to be performing at Buckingham Palace with his choir virtually sometime in the near future, but he was one of the performers at Davos. And just imagine for a moment what it would be like. Obviously he's used a network and human capital to create a beautiful work of art. The real question is, what if we could do this with technology? Okay. Wish we could see the whole thing. You'd probably enjoy that a little bit more than listening to me. All right, so just briefly, let me run through what we've been working on, and then if there's time, we'll have some comments or questions. But Tekcapital is the world's largest network for technology transfer. Essentially, we've built up an open innovation network. So we're a market-driven technology transfer firm. What we do is we work with companies to tap a very large network, which includes more than 1,000 technology transfer offices globally, and isolate those technologies which are most relevant to certain businesses or initiatives. And we accelerate the growth of companies through identifying these technologies and then facilitating the transfer of the technology. Obviously, there's been a lot of investment that's gone into clean tech. We can see that investment is just continuing to grow. Actually, in the last year, there have been some challenges with bringing new capital into clean tech, but over the last decade, there certainly has been an increase. And a lot of this investment has been government-funded investment. And a significant portion of that, and there's lots of statistics, and I found a bunch of statistics, and every statistic was slightly different, so I didn't put these up, but essentially we all know that a lot of that investment goes into public research labs and universities. And here you can see the investment broken out, through the different verticals. And so, depending on what industry or technology you're working with, you kind of see more or less the flow of capital into the industry. The problem has been, for those of you that have been involved in tech transfer, since this isn't really a format where we can have a lot of dialogue, I would ask you, was it a pleasant experience? Was it easy? And most oftentimes the answer is no. It's very challenging, it's laborious, it's time-consuming, It's difficult to isolate the technologies. Typically, companies will maintain a relationship with maybe 4 or 5 universities that they feel understand their space or know what's going on there. But they don't have insight or clarity into what's happening globally in their space. They might get online, Google a few terms, they'll get 5,000 hits, they'll see every article and every news, clip, but they can't isolate those technologies that are available for immediate license from a global network of technology suppliers. And that's what we've done. So we have focused our time and energy on developing this network and then creating a software piece that continuously mines specifically for immediately available for license technologies. And then we work with companies to understand their technology needs, and then we provide them with real-time updates on exactly what's happening in their space. So they can literally feel the pulse of technology development for their specific technology worldwide. So what we're proposing, what we've been working on, is the idea that companies do development best. And in many cases, because of funding and the rapid pace of technology development, it's cumbersome and difficult for companies to get research right. It takes a lot of time. Usually research is good research is the result of many years of much collaboration. And so our proposal is that companies should focus on development and should outsource their R to the global network of technology developers that are working primarily in the public space. And the reason for this right now is that there's an abundance of technology that goes unlicensed that's really fantastic, but that doesn't always find home. And oftentimes it's because people are looking at MIT and Harvard. They don't recognize that there are great ideas coming out of universities all over the world, whether it be in Asia or in Australia or in South Africa or in the United States. So we rapidly expand core technology with universities and research centers. And we use a software package to do this. And by doing this, we leverage all of that public funding that's going into these universities and these public labs and bring it into the market, connected with the partner. So benefits for companies are pretty straightforward. It is difficult for a small company to navigate a technology transfer. Usually, they're not, most small companies aren't going to be doing tech transfer on a regular basis, but it can be cumbersome. So what we've done is we've streamlined the process. We've put in place a team that manages the process so that it's very simple and easy for companies to be able to execute on a technology transfer strategy. And it's typically less expensive as well, because you're not using the same lawyer-up strategy that you typically have to use if you're sort of nascent into the space. If you're newly working in the space of technology transfer. And we also are aware of the costs, and we do independent evaluations on the technologies to make sure that we're meeting the bill with regards to negotiation with the technology transfer office. So we're typically able to achieve much lower cost and outcome than an average company. The patent box. How many of you are familiar with the patent box? Great. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the patent box, you should be, because this is a great incentive that's being introduced by HMRC. Significantly reduces corporate income tax for profits generated from IP that's been registered in the UK. And I would just encourage you, if you're not aware of that, to spend some time investigating it. We have worked with a variety of companies. We have more than 25 years of experience in the sector. We've executed more than 100 technology transfers. And we believe that the future really is about, especially for small companies in a crowded, very competitive space like clean tech, the future is really about how you can tap global networks and human capital